Welcome. This is the Voice of Eve. Our topic today is Nigerian women in diaspora, their expected roles. Please stay tuned with us. We will soon be back. There are tens of thousands of Nigerian women in diaspora. Do they still share common concerns and interests with us? Are they still patriotic Nigerians? Are they still advocates for the betterment of the lot of women and social justice? How much toll have the struggles for survival in their tough environments taken on the quality of their lives, family values, and family ties? Can we still count on them to be effective mothers of future Nigerian leaders and effective cultural ambassadors and active participants in the change and transformation process for a greater Nigeria? Please join me today as we welcome and discuss with some visiting Nigerian diasporans. I am Dr. Violet Arene. Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the Voice of Eve. We are privileged to have with us in the studio today one of the leading women, Nigerian women in the diaspora. She is Iruka Ndubizu.
Thank you.
Madam, you are wearing so many hats. I have you here as the Vice President of the Nigerian Women of Georgia Association, and a consultant, an executive director in your consulting company, Eureka Company, and also an assistant administrator of contracts in the famous University of Emory of Atlanta.
That's correct.
It is a pleasure having you here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's a real pleasure to have one of the leaders there, you know, joining the Voice of Eve, to add your voice to the Voice of Eve. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I understand you are leaving back for the U.S. today.
I actually am.
Maybe from here to the airport.
I think so.
The Voice of Eve is very important to capture
yes, it
your
is.
voice.
It's important to have a chance to say what we have to say.
Yeah. We understand there are so many struggles in the diaspora. For you women and others, tell us, is it that much of struggle for you?
Yes, it is. You're operating in a different environment, away from your culture, away from family, away from your community. So that has its own level of stress to what you're already going through as a woman trying to have your voice heard. So you're a woman, you're also a foreigner in another country. So all those pressures are added into your regular, what every other person experiences.
What factors then can you attribute to your success in being one of the leaders there?
Being born and raised in Nigeria prepares you for any challenge in the world. It's a strong desire. Nigerian women are very strong people. Our mothers, our grandmothers, this is way before my time. I come from a long line of strong women, as most Nigerian women are. So you don't come from that kind of lineage and go to a foreign country and relax.
You are many there and scattered all over the place. How do you motivate one another in the diaspora?
Again, community is very important. Yes. Like you mentioned, I am the vice president for the Nigerian Women Association of Georgia, NWAG. We've been around for about 13 years. You need a community. You need like minds, you need people who understand what you're going through. So by forming that, we can support each other. So as many women as can join other women groups to have a voice, that helps. You can't do it by yourself. You can't work in silos because it's only one brain working. But working in a group, for me, I think collaboration is a way to go.
This tough environment that exists there, how much does it surface women's problems in that sort of environment?
It's very hard. I'm a Nigerian woman, and you know what our role is here as Nigerian women is you have to be, you are the family support system. Growing up, it was really take care of the family, make sure the kids are doing right and all that. That was your major role. Where in diaspora, it's more than that. You have that role, then you also have to earn a living. You have to support your husband, whether financially, emotionally, and all that. It's hard. It's really hard to navigate the two. We can't all afford nannies. You know, we don't have, I grew up with a lot of house helps. I don't have any house help raising my children in America. So those are like I mean, it's a major struggle to, you know, be a career woman in diaspora, raise your kids right, and still be a great wife to your husband.
How do men and women cooperate? I mean, like this type of situation should really bring husbands and wives very strongly together. Does it work out that way?
Not always.
Yes.
I think it raises some more challenges in the marriage, I think. Just because you want to be a professional woman, you also want to be a great mother and a great wife. And like I said earlier, if you're juggling so many things, something will usually give. So, I mean, some husbands are great supports for their wife, but some might not understand that you're not home at 6 o'clock. So that could create another level of friction in your relationship.
What should actually be a woman's greatest anchor in a situation like that? It's tough.
It's tough. A good support system helps. So if you have a husband who's very supportive of your dreams and understanding that you will fail in some, I mean, when I say fail, I mean dinner might not be ready till 9 p.m. or it might just be sandwiches that night. Yeah. So if you have somebody who understands that and accommodates that for you, then there's no way you would make it. But you have somebody who insists you should come home at 6, you have a meeting, you know, at 5 p.m. at work. You're not going to say, my husband is calling me. Nobody wants to hear that. If you're trying to move up in your career, at least in America, you can't keep throwing your family in there.
Okay.
Yes, it's different today. They're all family friendly. There's all this work-life balance thing. But that's all in theory. My boss could care less that my child is going to be the last kid of the daycare. Where is my report? That's what they care about. My personal life is not my boss's business. You know, so I can't go say, well, I have to run home and take care of my kids. They don't want to hear that. Some, you know, in all fairness, are quite understanding. But not all of them are. I mean, it's all about the bottom line.
Now you're talking about kids. Raising kids in a foreign environment like that, it is so tough.
It's very tough.
How do you keep children going and especially maintain some fire of patriotism for them, for their country, Nigeria, in such an environment?
Well, it starts in the home. If the parents are, you know, into Nigeria, then the kids will imbibe that concept. But also beyond that, though, we have some very good groups at least in Atlanta. We have Nigerian Youth Alliance. We have some other groups who make children their business, trying to get on the weekends once a month, teach them our culture, our language, you know, educate them on everything Nigerian. Because some kids, their parents don't care about Nigeria anymore, and it's not their fault.
Do you consider yourself a brain drain?
I think my being in diaspora, it's a great asset to my country because I'm about to come back. I am bringing everything I have learned from America back to my country to make my country better. We have scholarships to Nigerian girls. Every year we throw out an essay question, probably around like February, March, in the papers here in Nigeria. It's published here. The girls write essays to us, and we pick one girl from each state in the Federation and the FCT. So that's 37 girls. And we've done that for over 10 years. And then we come down here to Nigeria and award a scholarship. And we just finished one on November 11th of this year. So every year we come down here and award the scholarship. We also have orphanages. We support 10 of them here in Nigeria. We raise a lot of funds in the States and bring them back here, which is what we're about, to empower young girls, education, just get your voice. Because we believe that when you train a woman, you've trained the community.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you for having me.
I expect to hear more of your leadership achievements and maybe hear more of you in the voice of Eve. Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the voice of Eve. Our topic today is women, Nigerian women in diaspora, their expected roles. We are privileged to have with us in the studio today some discussants from the diaspora, and we'll hear from them. It is my privilege to introduce Chikenweke the CEO of the Life and Times magazine from Hollywood, California,
Thank you,
USA.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you again.
Thank you.
You are very welcome home.
Thank you.
Just visiting for a few days and rushing back to California. Wonderful. And I have Mrs. Chioma Iwuchukwu Nweke, the Director for Executive Education, Lagos Business School.
Yes, you're correct. And here in Nigeria.
And I understand you've been there and you came back, so you have the best of the two worlds.
Yes.
We will hear comprehensively from you. And of
Thank you
course,
for having
I
us.
have, thank you, madam, welcome. Of course, I have Iruka Ndubizu, a Nigerian leader of women in the diaspora.
Thanks for having me
Again, it's a pleasure having you in the panel. We really need to hear your voices here, especially over the problems for women. We do hear stories, but we need to hear from the horse's mouth. Is it really such a struggle living there? You know, because we've had some things. How does, or let's put it this way, how do the struggles for survival in the diaspora impact women's emotional and mental well-being there? Is it too tough from what we hear?
It is tough.
Chikenweke.
I do agree with it. It is tough. It is a problem of role conflict. That is the crux of most of the problems. In the last 2 years, for example, in the United States, there have been 7 fatalities of men killing their wives in the U.S. And you ask yourself, why would such a horrendous thing happen? It's such a horrible thing. And why does it happen? Because people come over there expecting something totally different from what we are used to in our marriages back home, or what we are used to in our traditional marriages. We are used to situations where the man is the breadwinner and the woman supports the man. But over there in the diaspora, sometimes the reverse is the case, or you find a situation where people do not even tell themselves the truth going into these marriages. For example, a man comes back to Nigeria, stands at the gate of a nursing school, saying, "Here, Lawaba," and the first nice-looking woman that comes up that studied nursing, he proposes to, without knowing who this woman is, and say, "I'm going to marry you." And they go back to America. And this man is thinking, I have found myself a money-minting machine, because it is believed that nurses make money in America. But how do they make money? She has to work for 70 hours a week.
How many hours?
70 or 80 hours a week. Hardly sleeps in the house. And she's expected to cook, clean, and do the dishes when she comes home, playing the role of the mother and the wife. And when this does not happen, major crisis erupts. And oftentimes it leads to spousal abuse or domestic abuse, and oftentimes, like we've seen in the last 2 years, there are fatalities. But I'm not even going to excuse the women from this problem, because you see a situation where this woman knows that I do not like this man, but he is my ticket of going to America. Okay. And she jumps into the next plane with him and goes to America. That's where the seed comes, and this crisis continues.
Thank you. Mrs. Nweke, you have been there and you are here. What do you think is behind atrocities?
Well, Mr. Nweke did mention conflict of roles. And I would like to focus a little bit on that, because there shouldn't really be conflicts if there is understanding. I mean, it's very clear that there is a strain in the global economy, and any couple who believes that only one should be responsible, for contributing, to the home, is probably living in another world. Except, you have extreme cases where one is able to handle the finances of a home. A woman is naturally nurturing, and I believe strongly that a woman in a quote-unquote corporate world or a man's world can even do her role better if she enveloped the cloak of a woman. But what we find also is that women are trying forcibly to do this job like a man.
Okay, I think I'll pick it up from there. Mrs. Iruka Ndubizu,
Yes, ma'am.
do you think that the problem is that women are trying too hard to be self-empowered and to compete?
No, I don't. I don't think it's a competition. I don't think most women are not trying to compete. They're just asking for understanding. Like they both said, if you are working that hard, you'll expect some kind of support on the back end. So that's it. It's not a competition. It's I'm trying to do this work. You are my partner in life. Support me. But someone needs to tell him that.
But you know what? I even want to put the women on the spot. As a leader in our diaspora community, I've seen situations where women claim, this is America, I cannot do that. I am not going to wash this dish. You know, I do not have the strength to do this. I go to work just like you do. I come back home at 6 just like you do.
That's
you know,
different.
you don't expect me to go into the kitchen and do that. We should try and create a healthy balance in our relationships in the diaspora. It's very, very important.
Yeah. That's different. I mean, we have those women here also. That's a stupid woman. That's different.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a different. That's a different.
You have been here. You've been there. You came back. Do you think there are similar, situations here? How do women here handle because the economic situation is also impacting on us here. The global, harsh economic climate.
There is a lot of stress in a city like Lagos. Most cities in the world, could be very stressful. And yes, there is a lot of stress in Lagos. Imagine a woman who has to wake up very early in the morning, get the children ready, probably, do a school run, go to work, come back, has to prepare, and probably she gets home, there's no light. She has to go, run the generator. So the amount of stress in Lagos, in Nigeria, I am sure, I'm not going to draw a comparison with it in America, but I can tell you that it's also very stressful here. And you do have a lot of situations where the women are actually even the breadwinners, and have to balance it. Now, the difference is that support system.
Okay.
That is the difference. And I think here, being home, it's really easy to pick up the phone and, call your friend, call your sister, call your mother, or go to your village, speak to your grandma. But I think over there, the support system is where it's not. And being Nigerians, being Africans, it's going to be very hard for a Nigerian to go and see a therapist. Because over there, they easily go and see a therapist because they don't have the kind of support system that we have, yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you for that insight. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now, reversal of rule or economic hardship does not really warrant somebody taking another person's life.
Absolutely
not. Is it the absence of support system? Why do we hear about these slaughters?
Because people don't seek solutions. Because what I would really advise is if there's a crisis, go and seek solutions. In fact, in a lot of communities out there in the diaspora, there's Nigerian associations, usually made up of elders and people who are knowledgeable in the community. Go to them, talk. Start some talking process. If you're a Christian and you have a pastor, a reverend, go and start seeking solutions. Talk about these problems. Communicate. It does not warrant anybody killing anybody. Absolutely not. Find a way of creating a healthy balance in your relationship. If your wife comes back from home and cannot cook a fresh meal for you, if she has something put in the freezer, go and defrost it. Make yourself your favorite eba, eat and go to sleep.
You can tell that to the married for a woman who wants fresh okra soup. And the woman cannot produce it.
She cannot produce. She just comes after working for 12-hour stretch.
Yes.
She comes back, she's dead tired. You expect her to go and defrost and cook you fresh okra at night? Come on, you're joking.
I think honesty should be part of it because some of these men come here and blow up what they do over there. You have a guy who is probably America. I know it's survival. I don't care what you do. Bring up the bacon. But they come here and paint their career as bigger than it is. Mm-hmm. Then the girl says yes to you with this expectation. I'm marrying this guy, and then she comes over
And he's a cab driver.
When you say cab, just call it taxi.
That's fine. If you told her that,
exactly.
which is fine. But when you lie about what you do to somebody who's going to eventually live with you, so you start this thing on a lie. So women come back. Sometimes you get there, you say, okay, let me see it, but you never forget that lie, and then you start trying to. But you never forget that lie because you said yes to him on that assumption that you're going to come home to a big old house.
Why do we hear about so many lies? Like a woman is, a man is already married. You know, the entanglements are already there, and there's another lie just to get another woman in. And when the woman finds out,
you see,
there's mayhem.
You cannot justify a lie in a long time, even in any relationship, short, long time. Not to talk of lying to get into a marriage. A house built on lies, a house built on sand, a house built on a pack of cards, it will definitely collapse. I do know a situation. You know, one of my nieces, a man came from the US, claimed he was a systems software administrator, some big title like that.
Yes.
She came straight from the medical school, and this man lied and lured her into the States, and she came to the States and found out that this man was living in the sister's house in Maryland. And that marriage lasted for exactly 2 years. It never worked. There's no way it's going to work. So why do you have to lie to get into a marriage? If women are great investors. If a woman knows you have potential and you're struggling, you just came out of school, you just found a job, you still live in a small one-bedroom apartment, if she knows you are hardworking and she believes in you, she's going to invest all her time and energy in you, believing and trusting God that you're going to have a greater and greater future. So you don't have any justification to lie. So that's my standard.
If I can add, I think one of the reasons why women here easily believe such gullible stories, because there are ways to find out, if this person is credible or not, is because of the need, to get out of the country. And what I say is people should be comfortable with, their environment. Build an oasis of sanity. There's nothing wrong in going out there if you so choose to. But don't allow yourself to be so desperate about it that the first person that comes and gives you and spins a nice story, you suddenly fall for it. And I also want to say that a lot of Nigerians in diaspora oftentimes are a little bit negative about Nigeria. And I think it's time they need to see Nigeria in a very positive way. And I wanted to use this platform to let them know that it's easy to stay over there and criticize Nigeria, and that should stop. They need to come over, and if they want to criticize, they need to also come and make a difference.
How do you think you can get Nigerians in diaspora can get their acts together to be able to be a source of strength to Nigeria in our struggles here?
We should start thinking about Nigeria in the positive light. A lot of countries in the world have done so well using their diaspora. Afghanistan is an example. After the war, Hamid Karzai was a diaspora in Afghanistan that came back to Afghanistan, and he brought back so many Afghanistani to Afghanistan, and today they have a thriving economy. There's so many Nigerians out there doing well in so many professions. In fact, a Nigerian owns the largest black enterprise in the U.S. His name is Kes Lawal. He's into oil and gas refining and exploration. He's based in Houston, Texas. And there are so many. 70% of doctors, black doctors in America, are Nigerian doctors. So we have a lot to contribute. We need to start thinking home, not sitting down there and criticizing every little thing that happens in Nigeria. That is wrong.
It's a wonderful discussion. Women in particular, I will say, how do you come and help us? We are so fragmented in our little rights efforts, We want integration. And Mrs. Ndubezi, we are expecting you to come and do for us here what you did in Atlanta, Georgia, to integrate all the women's fragmented groups, because we must be together. Solidarity is strength.
NWAG's motto is together we achieve.
Please let it be the same for women groups too, at home and in the diaspora. I hope you will not disconnect we have connected with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Hello viewers, you have heard it all. Nigerian women in diaspora still indeed do share common aspirations, common interests, common concerns with us. They are still patriotic Nigerians. Even though they have their own challenges, real serious challenges, we believe that they can continue to repatriate a lot of assets in strength and resources to this nation. Together we stand. Thank you for watching.